Good evening, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. In excuse me. Shouldn't take such a big hit. In relation to what everybody deems their or considers their right to bear arms. I've been saying for a long time everybody's got it backwards because you think you have a right to bear arms. And that's the serpentine twist that the English language puts on things for you. And I'm going to show you by doing a little research with you. Now, this is research I've already done a long time ago, but I'm going to show you how to do the research on it so you can see how to follow along. As we can see, when we put up bear arms meaning, that's our research thing. You can punch that into any research engine. You're probably going to come up with a regular dictionary standard term. And it should explain it to you like this. Bear arms. Phrase of bear. One means carry firearms. Now, before we go much further, that's the thing everybody's concerned about in regards to that Second Amendment. And I'm going to show you how it's all twisted. So even if you want to sit there and cry about your constitutional rights, or even if you want to stand there and profess that you're going to support your constitutional rights, I'm going to show you how you're evidently doing it wrong. Because there are antecedent terms and conditions that were prevalent and observable long before the term or the phrase bear arms came about. And again, like I said, that term bear arms has a serpentine twist to it. So in regards to the Second Amendment right to bear arms, everybody thinks about carrying firearms. And that's a statutory regulated definition. And then it is conferred from the Constitution and its phrase, bear arms. But the right to bear arms actually has an antecedent thing. And I'm going to blow this up so everybody can see it real nice and plain. Second Amendment is bear arms is in reference to carrying firearms, guns, weapons, things of violence. Things of violence. Whereas the right to armorial bearing is the right to wear or display a coat of arms. Now, who would have thunk? Who would have thunk that you could profess and protect that Second Amendment right in its right construct without actually enforcing one's right to bear arms according to the Constitution itself or any statutory regulations therefrom. Who would have thunk that you could support that right antecedent, supersedent to it? And this is what we speak about when we talk about putting on the full armor of God. So, when we do our research and we find out that our right to bear arms actually includes not only a right to carry firearms according to the Constitution, but we have the right to the uniform of which we wear before we even carry any firearms. We are not going to carry any firearms and then cover it with a coat. We got to put on the coat first and then pick up the firearms. Okay? I hope that makes sense to everybody. And here we see coat of arms. Scoot this back as far as I can, see if I can get a nice screenshot there. Okay, coat of arms, according to Wikipedia, and like I've said many times, Wikipedia is not the source, but it is a good source because it has a generated opinion that stands on the record until somebody rebuts it and proves it otherwise. It is still valid information that you can research further thereof. So, and it says, this article, very important word there, because it has art to it. And this is specifically what we're talking about. Our Father which art in heaven, who gave us arms of his art. Is about the main element. The main element is the art. The art that you put in any article of your own is about the main element of a heraldic achievement. An achievement, armorial achievement, or heraldic achievement in heraldry. Heraldry being not necessarily war, but merely saving of life, where you are deemed a hero, is a full display or depiction of all the heraldic components to which the bearer of a coat of arms is entitled. And you can go on and read that further. But for now, a heraldic achievement, depiction of all the heraldic components to which the bearer of a coat of arms is entitled. Heraldic achievement is accomplished by following his word and having the heraldry effects. Heraldry, singing. That is what Paul Revere did when he said, warned that the British were coming. The British are coming. The British are coming. He was heralding. He was singing. Isaiah 54. Sing is the first word. And if you read the verse 17, it talks about letting nobody speak against you. Nobody. Because you have the song of truth. That is your heraldic achievement. First and foremost. Should be anyway, according to my opinion. That is just my opinion. Although, coat of arms is often erroneously used to refer to the whole heraldic achievement. For the whole heraldic symbol, see achievement, is heraldry, or heraldic achievement in heraldry is a full display. Whereas the coat of arms isn't necessarily a full display. It could just be a display of some of them. Such as a coat of arms showing the art, which art in heaven. Simply being the Lord's Prayer. For the albums, see coat of arms. Is the fifth studio album by Swedish heavy metal band Sabaton. Coat of Arms Wishbone Ash album. Another musical that's in reference to a musical thing. So when we get to the actual definition, it says a coat of arms is a heraldic visual design. Heraldry is a broad term encompassing the design. Remember what we said here, this art. Sign. Your good works are done, his good works are done through your hands. You better put his sign on it. You better put his sign on it. If it has any other sign, I don't think that I'd ever believe it. I would question it right from the start. Period. Display and study. Study. That isn't just mere acceptance that you're a Christian because mom and dad said so without knowing it, knowing what it means. It means you're supposed to study it. Do they teach it in schools? No. Have mom and dad been taking you to church? No. Have they gotten you into a Bible? No. Most likely. Again, that's my opinion, my strong opinion for a very large portion of the population of the world. However, that is not to say it is everybody. If you have studied, regardless of any other education, whether it was brought upon mom and dad or the public system, I applaud you. You need to continue doing so, no matter whether it be the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, Buddhism, Moodism, whatever. It all has to do with spirituality, which is your armorial bearings. Not your right to bear arms. You see how they twisted that? Heraldry is a broad term encompassing the design, display, and study of armorial bearings, as well as related disciplines, such as vexillology, together with the study of ceremony, rank, and pedigree. What they're doing here is describing the social construct of the 12 tribes. They do say pedigree and they mean race. They do say rank and they mean military. They do say ceremony and they mean the actual ceremonial rituals that they have from their armorial bearings. So no matter what race you have, no what military rank you have, no matter what customary ceremonies you follow, you all have pretty much the same armorial bearings. Now, how you draw them in your coat of arms that you put on your arms that show your art You better discipline it in the right way so that other people recognize the same armorial bearing. The best way to portray that in my opinion, is not to be bearing crosses and shields, or swords and shields, but symbols of love and peace. See, this is the whole intent of their law of the flags. This is where they even get their law of the flags. See, when somebody's on a battlefield or crossing a territory in their sojourning travels and they wear a coat, and it shows in big distinguishing arts where they came from and what their principles are through visual language, art language, rather than written words. So when they write down your right to bear arms in the Constitution in written words and then legislate it through statutory terms and then further define it as firearms, guns, machinery, or AR-57s or whatever, realize what they're actually doing. They're defining what was fine to begin with. I don't need a firearm. I don't need a gun. I don't need your statutes. I don't need your Constitution. I don't need a single one of your laws. Period. I don't need them. I can artfully express that which art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name, not any name I might carry here or anybody else might subject upon me. Forgive me my sins as I forgive them that sin. For thine is the kingdom. Thine is the will in earth as it is in heaven. It cannot possibly matter how else I draw it than how it's been drawn on my heart. I can't legislate it into such terms as they have done in the past without clarifying the distinct difference. I could not possibly find myself lying through a constitution that professes that I have a right to bear arms, without distinguishing that right to bear arms comes with my right to armorial bearing first and foremost before I pick up any weapon. Period. So let's go on, because now we have the visual design that I was just speaking about. The visual design is a mixed discipline between design and information development. Communication design. Now, if I want to design my communication in a visual form only and do just a video of you looking at me while I read all this stuff off and give you no scripture or texture or definition or literature or anything else to read off of as we go along, and you're just looking at me, that would be my choice. That would be my communication design. Is a mixed discipline, and now I'm mixing it even further by taking that visual design of just me and showing the flip side camera of this phone device that I've got so you can see both me, and then flip over to show you the script that I'm talking from. Between design and information development. So if I didn't have this screen, I could still technically have a piece of paper, and that would still be a different information development, which was in a more definitive form than just a video of a video of a video, which is concerned with how media. What is media? Media is medium. The thing that would prevent you from portraying your communication from one source to the original intended source would be the media intervention, such as printed, crafted, electronic, media, or presentations communicate with a people. See, but because we have these nice little cameras that can flip back and forth on these nice little electronic devices, we now have a different media. Okay? But right here, there's nobody interfering with this live media stream. There's no intervention. I get to choose whether I switch back and forth or not. Okay? This is by my design. By the design that somebody else has brought about that gave me the ability to use such wonderful devices. But this evades, all of this electronic stuff evades our ability of our own art. And we start taking the art from other people and using it instead. So, visual design on an escutcheon. What is an escutcheon? In heraldry, an escutcheon is a shield. Remember, we spoke about the full armor of God, and we have here, we have a banner up here. There's a banner up here that we don't see, but we'll see it here in a minute. And then there's a helmet. There's a helmet. And then there's a shield. And then generally on that shield, you will see a cross of a sword and another sword. And then generally in those four places of those swords, you'll see different symbols of heraldry. Say one was knighted, he would have a sign of a knight, a symbol of being knighted. He would have a symbol of where he was knighted. He would have a symbol of the element or the incident of which he was knighted for. And he would have a marriage of some sort possibly, which would be a benefit or an award for that heraldry being recognized in this fashion for this event. This is what they've done, and they've taken that shield and they've turned it into a contract through heraldry and stamps and flags and your right to bear arms. Every last one of those is based on your right to bear arms. The stamp, that's based on your right to bear, or your right to armorial bearing. The flag, that's based on your right to armorial bearing. That Second Amendment right to bear arms, that's based on your right to armorial bearing. It all comes from an origin of that which art in heaven, our Father which art in heaven. It's all an art form. It's under color of law. The escutcheon is the shield. Surcoat. Surcoat initially was an outer garment commonly worn in the Middle Ages by both men and women in Western Europe. See where it started? It can either refer to a coat worn over other clothes or the outermost garment itself. The name derives from French meaning over the coat. Tabard is a type of short coat that was commonly worn by men during the late Middle Ages and early modern period in Europe. Generally worn outdoors, the coat was either sleeveless or had short sleeves or shoulder pieces. And as we see here, it looks just like a heraldry. It's got the Leo as the protector, It's got that angel of the heart singing the song of the Lord. The coat of arms is an escutcheon form, or as the coat of arms on an escutcheon forms the central element of the full heraldic achievement, which in its whole consists of shield, supporters, crest, and motto. The shield, supporters, in heraldry sometimes referred to as the attendants, are figures or objects usually placed on either side of the shield and depicted holding it up. The lion here, the lion here. You know where you see that all? You know where you see that? Don't you see that on your cigarettes? All your cigarette companies have their own armorial bearing. Funny how that works, huh? Crest is a component of heraldic display consisting of the device borne on top of the helm. Helm. This is the helmet, and this is the crest. Originating in the decorative sculptures worn by knights in tournaments and to a lesser extent in battles, crests became solely pictorial after the 16th century. And this is where the wars started amping up and those crests became a problem. And so we had knights or infantrymen, soldiers, however you want to call them, had these helmets, and instead of having this big crest, they had a crest, just a ridge, sometimes higher at the front, squared off, and then going back and meeting with the back of the helmet. Or maybe even in the Second World War, we saw them leaving the entire crest and going to a bump on the top, as in like the German helmets, you see the little bumps. So this is all pertinent information, folks, in regards to everything that you're trying to avoid in all of this stuff. We have to realize the origins of all of this. A coat of arms is traditionally unique to an individual person, family, state, organization, or corporation. Every last one of their coat of arms is a corporate figure. Every last one. That flag? Fuck that flag! Do you hear me now? Do you hear him now? He is a respecter of no persons. Fuck that flag! Rolls of arms is a collection of a coat of arms, usually consisting of a rows of painted pictures of shields, each shield accompanied by the name of the person bearing the arms. You want a private member association, you start building this up. You develop your coat of arms. You develop your coat of arms. You develop your coat of arms. You develop your coat of arms, and join them in the army of the citizens of heaven. All showing that all of these coats of arms bear symbols of peace and love among each other, and not some corporate bullshit, M&M bullshit. Rolls of arms are collections of many coats of arms, and since the early modern age, centuries, they have been a source of information for public showing and tracing the membership, your genealogy, which up here is traditionally unique to the individual for his own art form, according to the way he receives his arms under his interpretation of his word. And therefore its genealogy across the time. You want to talk about a noble family? That's a social class. Fuck the nobility. Noble. Titles of nobility. Knowability. Remember we talk about responsibility and capability? This is no ability. That is a person. A person has no ability. None. I don't take upon that personal name. Period. When we go on to read this stuff, this one here is part of series on heraldic achievement. And this is the picture we were talking about up here where you see the crest is the slogan or battle cry. It's got the motto up here. You see this in Semper Fi. And then they have the crest. And then they have the torse, which is the plate. Then they have the mantling, which is the design around the helmet. The helmet. Then they have the crown, the coronet, the corona. Corona, right there, baby, corona. And then they have the supporters. And then there's the escutcheon, the shield. Order. An order is a visible honor awarded by a sovereign state. An order is a mand, as in command, with, C-O-M, with, M-A-N-D, order, with order. An order is visible, is a visible honor awarded by a sovereign state. Right there, the order of our Father which art in heaven. Motto, hallowed be thy name. A motto is the general motivation or intention of an individual, family, social group, or organization. Mottos are usually found predominantly in written form. However, it doesn't have to be, and may stem from long traditions of social foundations or from significant events such as a civil war or a revolution, or might I say a Bible or a prayer. Compartment. In heraldry, a compartment is a design placed under the shield, usually rocks, a grassy mount, or some sort of other landscape, foundation, compartment. Oh, wait a minute. You mean to tell me all of them corporate flags and stamps and symbols and seals and signatures have not a fucking thing to do with the actual foundation of the true landscape of this terrestrial earth, as in heaven, or as in earth, in earth as it is in heaven? You mean all these things are run by departments? Departments? As in foundation, the undoing of the foundation of the law of God, wherein we realize in that dictionary writing that tells us that legal is the undoing of God's law, is in fact true. Portal heraldry. Vexillology, from Latin vexillum, a flag or banner. As I said, portal heraldry. So when they ask you to fill out that passport and they want to do it under the United States flag. You want to assert you're American national. I suggest you provide them with evidence that you don't need a passport. You have your own portal of passage, known as your heraldic statement. Boom. Right there's your passport, folks. Right there is your passport. You see that? That is your passport. It is your right to armorial bearing. Your right to your armorial bearing is simply stated in the Bible through the things I've mentioned many times, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. My name has nothing to do with it. Thy will, or thy kingdom, thy will be done. So that's what's done in his kingdom, which is his will, is to be done in earth, which he created. And I deserve my daily bread for doing his good works. If I'm doing the good works of God, why would I use their flag? Why would I use their stamps? Why would I use their vessels? I don't get it. And I think this is a very valid question, or series of questions, because it doesn't stop. As we see, I'm 54 years old, and they're still denying me. And whatever age you people are, they're still denying you, even at the lower levels. That's why I say we have to rebut everything they put out there as a presumption, because that's all it is. It's a presumption. And we can, in a sense, when we get to certain stages, rebut it as not being a presumption, but as a rebuttable fact. And therefore, once we rebut it, and they can't rebut it again, it stands as truth. So once you become artistic, you're able to write your article and bear your article. And that article shows your armorial bearing and the no need and no necessity to bear arms, known as firearms. Why would you need to do it? Again, that's why I tell everybody, you need to quit doing all this protesting. You need to quit, when you go to the store and you really don't want to wear a mask, find a way around it. Find a way to show them simply how easy and ineffective their policies are. And this is one of the attributes that I happen to be lucky in, the positive stance of not wanting to grow my hair. I can use it as a shield or a mask, very simply. I don't have to go out and buy a face shield that doesn't actually prevent me from breathing, and it's open at the sides. It just prevents me from actually having to be able to spit on people, which I'd really like to do sometimes. But again, that's going straight towards that Second Amendment right to bear arms. I want to act out in violence. It's not the way we're supposed to behave. So to operate in this corrupt system or set of systems, we have to realize who we are in origin and how to assert that. I hope you guys comprehended this, because like I said, it's not just a matter of the Second Amendment. It's a matter of Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 8, wherein they clarify United States stamps are an obligation of the United States, as well as canceled United States stamps are an obligation of the United States. Well, if those stamps are an obligation of the United States, then what's my obligation? Because I feel that there is equal consideration and equal benefit. And see, that's where they fail to realize they are benefiting from me, from allowing them to even exist. Because if it was of my assertion, I'm sorry, I wouldn't allow you to bear that false corporate flag and pretend to be following the word of the Lord. How dare you? How's that for equal consideration and equal benefit before there's any monetary value put to it? If you're not going to equally consider the first word, the beginning, in beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. If you're not going to consider that, I'm sorry, again, like I said in the video earlier, he's a respecter of no persons. He doesn't respect that flag. Why the fuck should I? He doesn't respect your nobility. Why the fuck should I? He doesn't respect the person, even my own person. Why the fuck should I? This is an important point, people. It goes to stamps, goes to taxes. You know, your taxes are supposed to be paid by stamp. They're using federal fiat currency as stamps that have zero intrinsic value. Therefore, the taxes never get paid. Uh-oh. The only thing that gets paid with Federal Reserve notes is the tax itself. The monetary transaction itself never gets paid. It gets transferred. That's a promise to pay. As a Federal Reserve note, technically, they can use it as a tax stamp. There you go. Paste that on your envelope. There's your tax stamp. Better yet, use it to buy a $1 money order and make that sucker out for what you need. Money orders, those are obligations of the United States too. Imagine that. And you can overcome every last bit of it by learning how to assert your right to armorial bearing in every venue, in every action, in every instance. You just have to know that every time you see a stamp, flag, a coat, somebody bearing weapons, what their true intent is. If it's not of a scriptural intent, I don't want nothing to do with it. Again, however, I find myself in this system, the society of various different systems where I'm dependent upon that fiat currency itself. Just like everybody else. But I use it as a doctrine, out of a doctrine of necessity only. I hope you guys are paying attention and get that, because that's what we need to get to. If we can't use our own armorial bearing to live the existence that we're meant to in prosperity and abundance, freely giving what we were given freely, then what's the point of any of it? Why are you concerned with how much you have in your bank account? I don't care. Again, other than the necessity of doctrine of necessity of having to use it to go out and buy certain things on a daily basis. But anyway, I think that's about it for now. I really wanted you guys to pay attention to comprehend the true aspect of your right to bear arms and where it comes from, and how much else it all covers. But like I said, it's not just your Second Amendment right. It's your stamps, it's your seals, it's your signature, it's your autograph, it's the flag, everything. Everything. If you don't get back to your roots first on that individual basis and put your own artwork to it so you can clearly express your intent, they're just going to keep railroading you. Period. Anyway, when I get done here, I'm going to post my other foreign links. Again, I do have a new MeWe account. I'll be posting more as time goes on over there, specific material only, as we gather and collect more pertinent material for absolute correction of things. I won't be posting just random detail information in there. Put it that way. So in the meantime, I'll also be including the PayPal link. If you can hit that share button and share the information, the videos, and hit that PayPal button and share some love with me, I'd really appreciate it. In the meantime, remember, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. So God bless. Have a great night. Bye. Love you.